What was the dumbest thing you thought as a child? I used to think my mom was such a good shopper. She would pick out all these groceries, and when she got up to the checker, she would only give them one piece of money, and they would give her several pieces of money back and we got to keep the groceries. Grandparents were assigned to families. Like, I didn't know my grandma was my dad's mom. I don't know what I thought, but I remember being at my great-grandmother's funeral, and asking my mom why my grandma was crying. When she replied she is sad because her mother died, I was like, head explodes, so that's why we had to go visit her all the time. I just assumed she was this random old lady and I didn't like to visit her, because I couldn't be my rambunctious chatty little 4-year-old self. My mom is a shusher. I then had to ask about all of our other relatives. I was 4 when my great-grandma died. I remember sitting with my grandma and she explained that great-grandma was her mom, so that kinda helped me understand why she was so sad. But then I asked, "Are you going to get a new mommy now?" That made her laugh, so at least I was able to comfort her just a little. Lived in Germany for a few years. My dad convinced me that windshield wipers were called Flippenflippen Muckenspreiters. This was pre-Google Translate. My grandpa used to call dogs Woofenbarkers. I shall now too call all dogs Woofenbarkers. I am in debt to both you and your grandfather. Own 2 credit cards and use them to pay for each other for infinite money. Depending on your age at the time, that's actually a pretty good understanding of credit cards for a kid. Incorrect, sure, but better than most kids understand it. Honestly, I've seen adults with a worse understanding. I knew someone who thought she could just buy whatever as long as she could make the minimum payment. You're not wrong. I had a friend who got his first credit card and thought that at the beginning of each month the card would be reloaded with the credit limit. Like a $1,000 limit meant even if you were maxed out last month, you'd have $1,000 more credit to use the next month. He got a student card with a low limit like $300 or something and maxed it out right away. Then at the beginning of the next month he was perplexed and frustrated by the fact that he couldn't buy anything more with it until he paid down his balance. His rationale was something along the lines of, well, if it doesn't refill, how the hell do people end up with tens of thousands of dollars of credit card debt? They just have 100 different credit cards or something? It's a very good thing that he got roped into that low limit card as his first card. This little life lesson could have ended up costing him a lot more than it did. My mom worked at a credit card company handling escalated disputes. Got a call from a college-aged kid who had maxed out her card and asked, "So, do I cut it up and throw it away or?" "No, you can pay your bill and then use the card again." She was delighted at this response. That the Underground Railroad was a literal secret underground subway-style steam engine that Harriet Tubman was the conductor of. I don't know where I got messed up BC. While I understood it wasn't a literal railroad, I did think it was literally underground. Just secret tunnels from all over leading north. #X200B, edit so I don't have to reply to all comments individually. No, the Underground Railroad was not exclusively underground as I thought as a child. One couldn't enter a tunnel in Alabama and pop up hundreds of miles later at the Ohio River. They used underground to mean secret or hard to find unless you know the right people, like an underground nightclub. The inside of my stomach was another village with their own villagers. Every time I drank, it rained. Every time I ate, it fed the people. A tummy ache was because the villagers were unhappy. Hey, that's the gut biome. Yeah, instead of a few villagers you have trillions. I was vaguely aware of a TV show called Ironsides, about a lawyer in a wheelchair. Whenever I heard the word paralegal, I thought it meant a paraplegic lawyer. It made sense to me that people in wheelchairs could make excellent lawyers, based on the nature of the job and their physical limitations. I thought paralegals were lawyers who'd parachute to the scene of a crime so people would have their story straight before the cops showed up. Like paratroopers. That is an amazing image. Especially if they're already in wheelchairs. I used to believe that night is brought about by clouds, dark ones, of course. Never felt the need to clarify this with anybody, it was an obvious fact. I used to think trees made wind. Trees move, wind happens, can't explain that. Edit, my highest rated comment is about how dumb of a kid I was. Thanks for the silver, cunt stranger. Tips Fedora S. My parents gave me a book about the birds, the bees, that was illustrated. They showed a couple in bed in the missionary position. In that same book, there was a picture of a man's erect penis, which was shown as parallel to the floor as he stood. The book didn't explain that the penis is somewhat flexible. There was a diagram of the vagina and uterus but no picture showing the naked woman. I didn't have any sisters and my parents weren't the kind of parents that walked around naked or semi-naked. Clothed at all times. For the longest time I thought I was deformed. My vagina was between my legs when those pictures made it look like it should be on my stomach. I was horrified and I would scream if anyone opened the bedroom door while I was changing or using the bathroom because my deformity would be discovered. Edited because perpendicular and parallel are different. Editing because I am astonished by how many of us thought our bodies weren't normal. Giant group hug. We're all okay now. That babies were inside their mom's literal belly. If she swallowed a cherry tomato whole, I thought it would land and bounce on the baby's head. That's adorable and terrifying all at the same time. Adorifying. That sperm were the size of your fist, squeezed their way out of your penis while you were sleeping if a girl was in the bed with you, and wiggled their way up inside her to conceive the baby. This was based on Facts of Life pop-up book, where the sperm were that size. Really terrible reading skills, and parents who wouldn't directly answer my questions just gave me the book, so I figured they were to scale if babies forced their way out of women at the end during birth, which TV had taught me. I figured maybe nature was balancing the scales by having one of those bastard sperm tennis balls squeeze its way out of the man to begin the process. I knew babies came about by sleeping with each other, I just didn't know how sleeping could do it, and I filled in the gaps. Now I'm imagining millions of sperm fists coming out of a guy's dick as a crazy ninja move in some weird anime. Dude, you're bringing back nightmares I had as a child. Frown. Okay, children, let's look at your drawings of the things that scare you. Ooh, spiders are very spooky, Amy. Yes, mean dogs are too, Joey. And Bill Appa, yours is a man throwing giant white tadpoles at you from his pockets? I remember watching the movie Cocoon with my grandparents. I could not have been more than 4. For some reason I deduced that in order to become adults, children had to die in these pool cocoons and be reborn old. I freaked my cousins out and had a whole group of kids crying at a holiday party over our impending doom. Ruined Christmas pictures that year. Are you by chance a caterpillar? That if you drink while peeing you'll keep peeing until you stop drinking. I thought that highways functioned like airport moving walkways. Imagine how fast we could go. Man in audience, what if we used 100% of the highway? Pants to Morgan Freeman's face. I used to believe that people that spoke other languages translated their language to mine in their head. I thought for years that French people thought in English but translated things in their head before they said them. I just assumed learning speaking French was as difficult for them as it was for me. I went to French classes from age 4. It wasn't until I was probably 1112 and really thought about it that I realized they think in French. Even now I put probably think in French like seriously. I'm almost 30 and I'm not sure it's sunk in yet. As a Finnish person, I actually think in English like 50% of the time. Benefits of learning a language well. Being able to think in multiple languages makes it easy for me to keep my thoughts in line when I can just switch languages to find words that best describe something. That if people are going to study something they just sit in a circle with other students and think about what they want to do. As soon as they find out, they are done and they can leave. I wish lol. I like the way younger you thought. Though we'd have too many Lego engineers if that was the method. Can you ever have too many Lego engineers? That if April was a month, Ninja Turtles must also be a month. Clearly this one by logic is true. Lousy Leonardo weather. I thought that there would be a baby inside every girl's stomach as soon as she is born, and inside the baby's stomach too there would be a tiny baby. The cycle goes on and then that the baby keeps growing as we grow, and after getting married the doctors will cut the stomach and take the baby out to make space for another baby.